Greetings, respected viewers. So now I'm going to treat you to one of Shakespeare's most widely appreciated sonnets. That's Sonnet 18. It's been a particular favorite of mine since I was 16. So I'm about to recite this one. I might talk about it briefly afterwards. So make sure you subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and so forth. Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. So it was a very well-known expression, rough winds do shake the darling buds of May. And then there was that series about 1990 starring Catherine Zeta-Jones, The Darling Buds of May, but about this bourgeois British couple just after the Second World War, in which she played the eldest of the daughters. That expression, the darling buds of May, I suppose it sums up such a gorgeous time of year when spring has burst into summer, and the trees are bedecked with their canopies and everything's blossoming bright, colorful, and aromatic. And that's an image of fertility, youthfulness, vigor, vivacity, and everything you'd want to associate with romance. So, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? A rhetorical question, because you just did. But this lady compares favorably to a summer's day. She's even better than it because summer has its drawback. It doesn't last forever. But that hints at the ephemeral nature of youthful beauty because it'll fade one time. Because I remember he makes the same point in Romeo and Juliet, one of them singing, "A rose shall bloom and then shall fade, so does the fairest maid." They're all into being fair back then, really as pale skinned, which proved that you were well got, and the highborn didn't have to toil in the fields, and it wouldn't be catching the sun's rays and getting a swarthy complexion. So there was colour prejudice even then, although curiously it's been turned on its head in the Occident. We often like to repose on sun lounges and bronze ourselves under the sun's rays. Hello, Zach. Well, I'm glad that this was to your delectation. The eye of heaven, as in the sun, a bit like the Indonesian or Balinese, particularly, they would say that the eye of the day. Sonnet 129. Well, I might do that for you another time, but I think three sonnets in one sitting three poems in one sitting is quite enough. The gold complexion, his gold complexion dimmed, being another allusion to the sun. Hello there, Diane. So I hope you lot are subscribed and telling others to do so. So I have a most lively appreciation of poesy, but almost nothing of the 20th century do I like, certainly not the 21st. I'm a bit old hat. I thought of standing to be Professor of Poetry at Oxford University. It's an elected position. To my knowledge, it's the only elected professorship on the planet, and he comes up once every 5 years. I was going to go for it in 2009. I chickened out. I've got to keep my eye when it comes up next time. You don't have to have any qualifications. You don't need to be an Oxonian. You don't have to have any degree at all. You simply need to be elected by the graduates of Oxford University. Now, usually, such a person is an established poet or poetess. I like using my archaic gendered nouns. Shouldn't it be honorific for a lady to be known as an authoress or whatever else? Or administratrix? Not quite so much a murderess, but that would still be a feminine noun. Because I savor poetry and I enjoy every word. Did C.S. Lewis go for it? And C.S. Lewis held it, if I'm not mistaken. No, wait a second. He went for it. I'm thinking of Cecil Day Lewis. I don't think he got C.S. Lewis, as in Clive Staples Lewis, but I think he stood for it. He was a Don at Magdalen College, Oxford. He'd been a Don at Cambridge earlier on. He was an undergraduate at my college at Univ. I'd love to figure out where his room was. I've read his autobiography, Surprised by Joy, cover to cover, twice. I've identified his wife, Joy Davidson's house in Oxford, because they didn't always live together, and the Kilns. I've not been to the Kiln, C.S. Lewis's house, which is just on the edge of Oxford. So don't go to the centre of Oxford thinking you can walk to C.S. Lewis's house. It's like 5 miles from the centre. You want to go by car. So back to Sonnet 18, saying that you know it's almost as though you're immortal. You won't lose your beauty in the true and inner sense. So because people appreciate you, you're so fabulous or so spiritual, that in a sense will immortalize you. So perhaps it's not directly about love, but it's what would the word be? Oh, I'm forgetting it. Like a panegyric to some person. I'm not absolutely certain it's a female, but I think so. There are rumors that he was bisexual. But this is sort of conjecture to suggest that it was. He wore an earring, but in his left ear. I know in the United Kingdom they say right ear, right queer. I know that's an opprobrious term for a homosexualist, as in if you wore one in the left ear, you were straight, the right ear not. What if in both? I'm not sure. It seems to have rather gone out of fashion since wearing earrings since the 90s. I assure you, I've never ever had a piercing anywhere. All right, I shall sign off right now. So book online lessons with me in English literature and so many other subjects. So as Super Ted used to say, cheery bye bye.